Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Warframe Varuna. Now, just a little disclaimer about myself is I'm an LR4 with over 5,000 hours in the game, and my goal is to provide builds and guides for people to have an easier time in Warframe. So let's get started on Varuna here. So Varuna was actually suggested to us by a lot of people over the past few weeks. Actually, the past few months, I think people have been suggesting Varuna. So I finally decided I was going to get her done. I don't typically like doing non-primes, so I was a little bit apprehensive about her, but I decided so many people requested her that I was going to do her today. We have the top commenter of the last video, JP Nathaniel. And we have the first commenter of the last video, KS Nanosquid. All right. So Varuna is very much a melee-oriented Warframe. So let's check her build out here. And we're going to start by going over her abilities. And we'll go over her passive first. So Varuna never fights alone. In mission, hold abilities to call upon each wolf's unique passive power. So her passive is actually 4 different passives. So if you hold her 1, it's a certain passive. If you hold her 2, it's another. If you hold her 3, it's another. And if you hold her 4, it's another. So her 1, the passive is going to be that you get more parkour velocity. That's kind of nice. If you're trying to speedrun missions, or maybe you're just going to the exit of the mission when the mission's over, this could be kind of cool. The 2 is going to give you status effect resistance, which is very, very powerful. The 3 is going to give you increased heavy attack efficiency. And the efficiency of the heavy attacks are going to be, it's going to be 100%, although the game caps it at 90%. So even though it's going to give you 100%, you'll still be 90% efficient. But that other extra 10% that doesn't come into play then sometimes can come into play if you have a Riven that decreases heavy attack efficiency. If you do, then that'll help to reduce the reduction of efficiency, if you know what I'm trying to say. So the 3 passive is actually the one we're going to be using. And it's because of the subsume we're using. And we'll get to that when I get to the 4 and we explain that. Now the 4's passive is going to be a revive, basically. So when you die, your little wolf companion will revive you. So that's a good one, but it's kind of like setting up for failure, and I don't like that. So I believe the 2 and the 3 are the strongest. If we were not using the subsume we're using, I would all day long go with the 2, because status immunity is amazing. But we need to be using the 3's passive to allow us to use our 4. So, okay, I'm kind of getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves there. So we'll go back here. So we're done talking about the passive. Let's go to the 1 now. Shroud of Dynar. So the Shroud of Dynar is a buff that you're going to give to yourself. It's going to make you invisible. If you try to shoot or attack or anything like that, you'll go out of invisibility. But when you have this buff, you have a large crit damage bonus. That crit damage bonus is going to be based on your strength. But if you look there, our critical multiplier bonus is 5.68 times. That's huge. You get a movement speed buff, parkour velocity buff. You get slashes per melee hits. And then here's an interesting part. You get 100% absolute crit chance and 100% absolute status chance. Well, what the hell does absolute mean? Because it was confusing to me too until I researched it. So what absolute means is that your crit chance is always going to be at 100% and your status chance is always going to be at 100% as long as you do not go over it. If you go over that, it'll just go away. And then your crit chance or status chance will be at whatever modded crit chance or status chance you're at. So if you have a weapon that, let's say, has 0% status chance, it'll be at 100% status chance, or 0% crit chance, it'll be at 100% crit chance. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of the Stug. I don't know why I'm thinking of the Stug here. But so that's what absolute means. Now, we're not going to bank on the absolute crit chance. We're actually going to boost our crit chance over that 100%. So we're going to lose that 100% absolute crit chance. And it's because I don't want to just be at yellows. I want to be going like hardcore into the red crits because she has crazy crit damage multipliers. But we are going to be banking on the absolute status chance. So that's going to be really cool. So we'll bank on this build. We're going to bank on that absolute status chance, but we're going to kind of forego the absolute crit chance. So really powerful buff. Let me see. Do I have anything else written about it? Not really. There might have been like one or two other minor things that I missed in here, but yeah, pretty powerful buff here. Okay, the 2, Fangs of Raksh. So you're going to dash forward at an enemy, and you're going to apply 5 random statuses. And each of those statuses are going to have 10 stacks each. And then killing the target that you dashed on will spread those statuses to nearby enemies. So let me make this clear. You dash at a target, you apply it to him, and then when you kill him, it spreads. The dudes that it spreads to, if you kill them, it's not going to further spread. It's only going to spread from that first dude you dashed to. He's like patient 0, you know what I'm saying? So this is not going to spread infinitely. You're going to have to keep pressing 2 to find a new patient 0 to put this on. So the way we're using this is, we're actually kind of using this as a movement tool, and also to kind of help in priming as well. So we're going to move to a group of enemies with this, kill that target, spread a bunch of statuses, kill that group of enemies, find another group of enemies, and press 2 again and move to them, and kind of repeat the process with this. So this is our movement tool and an assistance in priming. The 3, Lycanth's Hunt. This is a buff that you apply to yourself. Health orbs are going to drop on melee kills, and energy orbs are going to drop on headshot kills. Our build is a primarily melee build, but we're going to be using equilibrium. So those health orbs are going to also be giving us a absolute metric butt ton of energy. So Lycanth's Hunt is like all you need. Well, not really all you need, because you need equilibrium. But Lycanth's Hunt with equilibrium is like all you need for health regen and energy regen. It is very, very powerful. Also, killing enemies with 5 or more statuses while this is up is going to increase this duration by a little bit. I believe that duration does cap at 60 seconds, though. Alrighty. Now the 4. This is not Varuna's 4 Wrathful Advance. This is actually Kullervo's 4, but this is what we're going to be subsuming onto Varuna. So, Wrathful Advance is Kullervo's ability. And what you're going to do is it's going to charge a heavy attack. You're going to heavy attack an enemy. You actually teleport to him when it happens. Heavy attack him. And then you get a gigantic melee critical chance buff for a certain amount of time, depending on your duration. Now that melee critical chance buff counts as final critical. So what are all these weird words? Final critical, absolute critical. Well, Wrathful Advance is final critical. So if you look here, it says melee critical chance 284%. That's final critical, which means that 284% just gets plopped on top of whatever we get with our modded critical chance. So that's extremely powerful. Now, something to know about Wrathful Advance, and the reason we have to use the passive of Lycanth's Hunt, is that when you do that heavy attack, it will use your combo. And we don't want that. We want to maintain a high combo. And so the heavy attack efficiency that you get from using the passive of Lycanth's Hunt makes it where you don't use up your combo with Wrathful Advance, or use up an extremely small amount because it's 90% efficiency. So now Varuna, her 4 is still quite good. And there's actually entire builds that are built around Varuna's 4. So I don't want to make people think that Varuna has a bad 4. It's just a little bit janky, and there's like different builds that are focused on it, and that's not what the build that we're doing today. So our build is going to be subsuming her 4 out and using Wrathful Advance. Alrighty, I think that's all the abilities there. A lot of her abilities are buffs. The only one that actually really does anything is her 2, and even that is kind of a buff or a debuff that you're putting on the enemies. So I don't think there's a need to show these abilities in the simulacrum like I sometimes do, because like the 1 is a buff, the 3 is a buff, the 4 is a heavy attack, but you're mainly using it for the buff, and the 2 is the lunge that you do in between packs of enemies. So nothing really too crazy to go over in the simulacrum, I don't think. Okay. Now we're going to go over the mods. And oh man, this has been a long video today. It's 2:10 my time, and I started at 7:30 in the morning. I was doing a lot of research on Varuna, and I've been doing a lot of research over the past few days on her. So I think I finally have a pretty good build on her. She's also very expensive, and I'm unwilling to use Umbral mods. If she was a Prime, if she was Varuna Prime, I would be willing to use Umbral mods, or not Umbral mods. I'm sorry, Umbral Forma. I would be willing to use Umbral Forma and to have some of the upgraded versions of these mods on here that I'll explain as we go through. So, okay, we're going to start with Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. So these are sets. When you have a set, it actually increases the stats of each other. So by having 2 of these Umbral mods on here, the ability strength goes all the way up to 55%, and the health goes all the way up to 130%. So you get a lot of HP, and you get a lot of ability strength by using these 2 Umbral mods here. So that's why we're going to use them. The next mod is going to be Narrow-Minded. Narrow-Minded is going to increase our ability duration by quite a bit. And it's going to also give us negative ability range. Negative ability range kind of sucks. The spread range of our fangs. So when we're actually spreading those statuses out, when we kill the dashed target, it's going to affect that negatively. So we're going to have to recoup some of that range by using other mods later on, like Stretch. But that's what Narrow-Minded does. It's going to give us a large boost of ability duration, though, which is also very, very important to Varuna. Varuna actually kind of wants all stats. She's one of those weird Warframes that just wants everything, right? She wants strength, she wants range, she wants duration. So a lot to satiate her build. Alright, next we're going to have Blind Rage. Blind Rage is going to give us a lot of ability strength, but it's going to give us a negative ability efficiency. And that's okay. She gets energy like no tomorrow. She has such crazy energy regeneration with her Lycanth's Hunt mixed with Equilibrium. So having negative ability efficiency isn't really too bad. We are going to end up having to use an Archon Shard, or even 2. I use 2, but you could probably use 1 and it would still be comfortable. I use 1 or 2 Archon Shards to increase energy, the energy pool, just the energy amount that you have. This will make it a little bit more comfortable because your abilities are going to be a little bit more expensive with Blind Rage. It'll make it more comfortable to be pressing your buttons. All right, health conversion. This build, I don't know if I said this already, but this build is a health and armor build. And Varuna has pretty poor starting armor. Her armor is 200 starting. So any kind of percent buff to her armor is actually quite meh. Like Umbral Fiber is kind of eh. If I had space, I would use Umbral Fiber just to boost up these other 2. The actual boost that it would give to armor is kind of crappy. But the cool thing with health conversion is that it's not based on your starting armor. It just straight up gives you 1,350 armor. That's a lot. That's a lot. 1,350 armor. Now, there's a little bit of conditionals to it, where if you take health damage, or if you take damage, you're going to lose one of the 3 stacks. And so instead of it being at 1,350, you'll be at 900. So you can't bank on this always being at 1,350 armor. Frequently, it'll be at 900 armor, which is still okay because we're going to use something else that helps us with armor. Just remember, on Steel Path Endurance, you're really looking to be at least 2,000 armor. 2,000 is like that magic number. Okay. We already went over Umbral Intensify, so now we go to Primed Continuity. This is going to give us more ability duration. So now this is one of the slots that could be upgraded. And it's going to be upgraded to basically the same mod, but instead of Prime Continuity, it would be Archon Continuity. Okay, this is just expensive. Like, I can't fit this in without actually putting an Umbral Forma, and I'm unwilling to do that. And maybe you would be unwilling too, so that's fine. In that case, you just use Prime Continuity. But Archon Continuity, let's read this. Abilities that inflict toxic status will also apply a corrosive status effect. So R2, when it applies those statuses, if it applies toxic, you'll have a toxic that turns into corrosive. Just keep in mind that this will not proc on all 10 of the toxins. It'll only proc on one. So it's actually quite a minor upgrade. But if you really, really want to min-max, it is technically better than Prime Continuity because it's the same amount of ability duration and you would get a free corrosive proc once in a while. So very, very minor upgrade, but it's technically an upgrade. So that's why we use Prime Continuity here for now. In the next slot, we have Stretch. This is going to give us plus 45 ability range. We would normally not need this, but we need this to recoup some of our range that we're losing because of Narrow-Minded. Because we just don't want to be at negative range. I mean, at the end, we are at kind of negative range here, but we want to try to recoup some of that range back. So that's what Stretch does. Now, again, Stretch can be improved. So if we look at Archon Stretch, it's the same thing, 45 ability range, but let's read that bottom part. Abilities that deal electricity damage restore plus 2 energy per second over 5 seconds. Well, R2 can be applying electric procs, and that would trigger Archon Stretch. So it is technically an upgrade. Again, it's a weak upgrade because we're getting so much energy already because of Equilibrium with the 3. But it's technically an upgrade. So if you really, really want to min-max, you would use Archon Stretch over Stretch. But again, it's very expensive compared to regular Stretch. So you're looking at an Umbral Forma, maybe even 2 Umbral Forma if you want to use both of those things. Oh, Stretch and Continuity. Okay. In the last slot, we have Equilibrium. Equilibrium is going to, our health pickups give 110% energy, and our energy pickups give 110% health. That combos amazingly with her 3, Lycanth's Hunt. So that is a must. This is extremely powerful on Varuna. Okay. In the Aura slot, we're going to have Steel Charge. Steel Charge increases melee damage. It also is a very high capacity aura, which translates into capacity for you. So it actually helps you fit certain things on your build as well. So Steel Charge is very, very powerful. And in the Exilis slot, we're going to be using Cunning Drift. Cunning Drift gives us ability range. This is going to be helping Stretch. So Stretch and Cunning Drift are going to be used in conjunction to try to recoup some of that lost ability range from Narrow-Minded. If you notice, my Cunning Drift is only a 2-star Cunning Drift. I was not able to fit a full 5-star one without using an Umbral Forma. And because Varuna is not a Prime, I'm not willing to use an Umbral Forma on this build. When Varuna Prime comes out, absolutely, I'll pop Umbral in and I'll put a full rank Cunning Drift in. It's just Umbral Formas are very hard to get. So, although we might not be seeing a Varuna Prime for a while, so you might, if you really like Varuna, if she's your main, it might be worth popping an Umbral in to fit everything. Okay, let's go over the Arcanes. The Arcanes are not exciting because they're meant for survivability. So you're not going to have anything too exciting on the Arcanes, but we'll go over it. Arcane Blessing. This is going to increase our max health by plus 24, and it stacks up to 50 times. Forgot exactly what this equates into. I think it's like 1,240 health or like 1,300-ish health. It's something like that. At the end of the day, you'll be at about 2,500 health when you're fully stacked up. And that's perfect. You in Steel Path Endurance, you need over, for a health and armor build, I should say. For a health and armor build on Steel Path Endurance, you need over 2,000 health, and you need about 2,000 armor or a little bit over. So this is going to give us 2,500 when it's fully stacked. And then in our next Arcane slot, we're using Arcane Guardian. Arcane Guardian is going to be giving us 900 armor. So this is going to get us to our armor that we want to be at, and actually a little bit over it, which is okay, because if we lose a stack of health conversion, this kind of covers the lost stack of health conversion. So that's why we use Arcane Guardian there. Alrighty, that's the mods for the Varuna build, and those were the abilities. So I think now we can go over some externals that you could be mixing with Varuna. And we'll start with the Archon Shards. So I went with 2 Archon Shards for plus energy max. She has a great way to restore energy. So your restoring of energy is not going to be an issue whatsoever for you. But the actual energy pool that she starts with is kind of, it's not great. And because we're using Blind Rage, a lot of our abilities are a lot more expensive than they should be. So having at least one of these is very, very good. I use 2. 2 makes it even more comfortable, but you really only need 1 for it to work appropriately. I use 1 yellow shard for casting speed. This mostly involves her 2. Her 2, when you leap and dash at that target and like chomp on them and put a bunch of statuses on them. There's a little bit of an animation, and I feel like this just makes it a little bit smoother. You don't technically need this. I just kind of like it a little bit. If you did not want to use the casting speed, I would go with 3 ability strength shards. I have 2 here because I have that 1 for casting speed. So I have 2 ability strength shards for my other 2 shards here. So ability strength is very powerful on Varuna. She uses ability strength for a lot of things. You could also go ability duration, but I think we have enough duration, and so I think ability strength will be more worth it for you to go in these 2 shard slots. And again, if you don't want the casting speed, you can just put in another ability strength Archon shard right there. Alrighty, that's the Archon shards. None of these are mandatory, except I would say, I mean, 1 blue shard is not mandatory, but it makes the build so much better. I would say like 1 blue shard is almost mandatory. Everything else, you could do whatever the hell you wanted with them. But I would almost recommend 2 blue shards. 2 blue shards would make it like super, super comfy. 1 blue shard, though, close to being mandatory. All right. Externals that combo with Varuna, there's a few. If you guys know better externals, please let me know, but we'll go through a few of them here. So the Rauda. The Rauda is a primary weapon that when you shoot enemies, you get combo count. You're a melee build, so like once you get to max combo, you're pretty much never gonna lose it unless you accidentally heavy attack out of Tenekai, which I do sometimes. But the Rauda could help in those situations. You could switch to the Rauda, shoot it like literally just a few times and be at max combo. So, and I'll just go over the Rauda utility build real quick. So this build is literally just based on getting combo count. It's not based on doing damage. This is going to do completely piss poor damage. So we're going to get multi-shot because more shots is more combo count. Vigilante Armaments because more shots is more combo count. This is multi-shot. Accelerated Blast for fire rate, so we can shoot quicker to get more shots out. Primed Ammo Stock is more mag capacity if you really wanted to just like dump an entire mag of the Rauda to make sure you were at 12 times. You don't even need the full mag, though. You could probably just shoot like a few times and you'd be at max combo. Tainted Shell actually reduces fire rate. This one is questionable. This is going to be more for like medium ranges if you don't have a dude right in front of your face. This is going to make it more accurate. So more of your shots, more of those like multi-shots are actually hitting the target and you're not losing them on like the sides of the enemy. But if you're intending to like use the Rauda like right face up next to someone, you don't really need accuracy, and then you wouldn't lose that fire rate either. So this is questionable. Tainted Shell here. Frail Momentum for fire rate. Shotgun Barrage for fire rate. Prime Tactical Pump for reload speed. And Counterbalance for negative weapon recoil. And in the arcane slot, we're going to be going for primary dexterity. This is going to give you 7.5 seconds combo duration, which is really, really nice. Alrighty. So that's the utility router build. That will do absolutely garbage as far as damage goes. But for the utility of getting your combo up super, super quick, this is really good. And this will work on pretty much all melee Warframes. If you wanted just a utility router build to get your melee Warframes at max combo in just a few shots, there it is. For the secondary, I've gone over this in a few of my builds. What did she do? She just like threw it in the air. The Azima. The Azima is a secondary weapon that acts as a pseudo ability. It's a 30-second turret that spins around and applies whatever you put on the weapon. I'm going to be putting viral and electric on the weapon, so that's what it's going to be applying. So it'll be a turret, spins around, puts viral on everything, puts electric on everything, and yeah, that's about it. Lasts for 30 seconds. I think I have an Azima video up, so I won't show that right now just to save time. So for the melee weapon, this is important because you're a melee frame, so you have to pick a good melee weapon. Now, Varuna can make like the worst melee weapon really good. So you could pick any melee weapon and it will be amazing. But if you really want to min-max, there's like a few good options. I like the Hate. I had like a whole spreadsheet up where I was going through all the melee weapons in the game. I was comparing their base crit chance, crit damages, ranges is a big one because you want something that has good range. And I felt, for me personally, the Hate was very powerful. It had really good range, it had really good crit chance, and it had really good crit damage. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty damn good. The status chance doesn't matter really on these because you're going to be getting your status chance for free. Remember, her 1 is going to give us 100% absolute status chance. So the status chance doesn't matter whatsoever. So if you don't like the Hate and you're looking through different weapons, just remember, don't even worry about the status chance. You're going to be at 100% anyway. So the Hate was really good. Another weapon that was really good, and I was going through the spreadsheet, I'm like, damn, like these stats are pretty friggin' good, was the Azothane. The Azothane is like a Duviri weapon, but damn, that thing had, what was it, 3 times crit damage multiplier base? It was crazy. That's more than the Hate. The Hate had more crit chance, though, and it's an incarnate, so it's got like some little extra buffs as well. So that's why I went with the Hate, but the Azothane was super close. The other thing to consider is Zaws. Zaws have the Contagion mod. That gameplay style is a little bit different, so I'm not going to go for that. But if you like that type of gameplay style, the Zaws with the Contagion Arcane, very powerful. So, yep. Now, I want to go into the Hate here. And I want to explain a few things. And this is going to be important on your Varuna build. Remember, you are going to get... let me just move something real quick here. You are going to get 100% status chance absolute. Okay? Our normal build for melee weapons usually uses the 60-60. And it usually uses Weeping Wounds at the end here for status chance. So let me do something for a second. I'm going to take Gladiator Vice off, and I'm going to take Shock and Touch off. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the Electric 60-60. And I'm going to put Weeping Wounds, which is what our normal Hate build would look like. Okay? But if you do the math, let's do the math on here. The base status chance is 20%. Weeping Wounds is 40% status chance per combo multiplier. So 40% of 20% is 8. 8 times 12, which is the max combo multiplier, is 96. Okay? It's 96 status chance that we're going to get with Weeping Wounds. Voltaic Strike, 60% of 20 is 12. So 12 plus 96 is 106, 108. 108. So you're using both of these mod slots to basically only get 8% status chance because you're going to get 100% status chance for free anyway. So I'm like, that's kind of shitty. I don't want to use 2 mod slots for 8% status chance. So I took these 2 off. And we're going to need an electric mod anyway because we need to activate melee influence. And so I just typed in electric. And we're going to go with the big one. We're just going to go with the Shocking Touch. It's a little bit more. We're going to get a little bit more damage out of it. And in the last slot here, this is kind of free. It's kind of free. And there's two really, really good options. And it was so hard for me to pick. Maybe you'll have one that you like more than the other. So the two really good options for this last slot where we would normally put Weeping Wounds is Primed Reach. Oh my goodness, look, it turns that 3.6 meters into 6.6 meter range. Oh, it's so powerful. I think the Incarnate is the same thing, right? Yeah, 6.6. So Primed Reach is really, really powerful. And then the other really good option is Gladiator Vice. So it doesn't look good, right? It's like, well, 30% attack speed. But you get another pip on the bottom of that set bonus. And that pip equates into 120% crit chance. So this is 30% attack speed and 120% crit chance. Or range. So, oh, it's such a hard choice. Those are two really, really hard choices. I'm going to go with Gladiator Vice, but you might like Primed Reach. Primed Reach is really powerful there too. It was super hard for me to pick. But otherwise, like, the build stays the same for most of our normal melee builds, other than those two slots. You don't need the 60-60, you can just go with the bigger electric one, and then you don't need Weeping Wound, so you get a free mod slot. This could also be a Riven slot, too. If you have a Riven, just plop it there, too. Alrighty. So, but again, you can choose whatever that you want for the melee weapon. I like the Hate. I felt like the Hate had really good stats, but maybe you like Zaws, maybe you like, who knows? You can use whatever the hell you want for a melee. Let me know what you use. Let me know what you use and tell me the reasoning behind it, and hey, maybe I'll switch mine, too. Alright. In the school slot, in the, God, what's the name of this thing? Focus School. In the Focus School slot, if you probably should go with Naramon. Naramon makes it where you don't basically have to ever worry about combo duration. Because there's just the base passive that always works, that you literally have to do nothing for, just makes it where your combo count decays so slowly that you have enough time to leave your computer, go take a dump, come back, and you still have combo count. So Naramon is so powerful for that, you never have to worry about combo duration. But if you had other ways to not worry about combo duration, you could switch to other focus schools. Zeneric would give you more, where is it? Zeneric would give you more energy. Unairu would give you a little bit more armor, 200 more armor. And Madurai would give you a little bit more passive damage, like super small passive damage, but it would technically give you a little bit more damage. So I'm going to stick with Naramon. I just like the fact that it decays so slowly that I don't ever have to worry about it. Alrighty, in the pet slot, that's right, we're still going with our little Dirija primer. He's the best melee primer in the game. He's so good. There's a few other primers. There's the Panzerwelpe is a really good viral primer. There's the Mechanical Hound is a really good ranged primer. But Dirija is so good for a melee primer. Now, let me add this little caveat here. If you did go with the Contagion, like if you went with the Zaw with the Contagion Arcane, and you're shooting your melee thingy out a little bit, Dirija wouldn't be good. You would need to go with a Hound primer, because the Hound is meant for more ranged priming. Dirija only primes things that are like right next to you. So Dirija is only for like a traditional melee weapon primer. So, okay. But because I'm using the Hate, which is a traditional melee weapon, it doesn't have anything crazy that's like shooting out of it, I'll be using Dirija here. So now your 2, like we were saying, Varuna's 2, you're applying a bunch of statuses, but you can't super rely on that to prime for you unless you're willing to press that 2 button every 2 seconds. If you're not willing to press it every 2 seconds, you still probably should have a primer pet. Or another way to prime. You could use one of your weapon slots to prime as well. So for that reason, going in with my little Dirija to prime for me in melee. Alright, and that's the Varuna build. That's how you build her out. I'm going to show this in about 10 minutes a mot to show the basic gameplay off and the game style. Basically, what it'll come down to is you keep your 3 up all the time, you keep your 1 up all the time, you keep your 4 up all the time. Those are basically just buffs. So you just keep them up all the time, those guys. And you use 2. You use 2 to go from pack to pack, and you just melee attack. So buff, 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 actual ability that you cast. I guess 4 is technically an ability too, but you only use it like once every 25 seconds for the buff, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then also remember the passive. You have to turn on the passive for the 3, because this will make your heavy attack efficiency 90%, so you're not losing combo with Wrathful Advance. All right, let me stop running my mouth. Let me get into Mott. And we'll show this bad boy off here. Yeah, you're maintaining 3 buffs, and you're using your 2 to go from pack to pack. It's not too bad. Not too bad.
These are
all right. So before we start, do you see in the bottom right, Varuna has that special little thing, right? Where it like is a bunch of heads of wolves or whatever the hell it is. And you can hold the button and switch your passive. So look, I switched to my 3. I could switch to my 2. I could switch to my 1, which is parkour velocity. But I want that 3. I want heavy attack efficiency. That way when I press my 4, it's not it's not taking my combo. So, okay. Enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get in here.
They have just shut down all systems.
I'm gonna press my 3.
I'm sending life support capsules your
so we can
way.
get some energy. Press my 1. Activate my 4. There we go. Got all my buffs rolling. Now I'm good to go here. When you're going from pack to pack, you could just use your 2 to move. And that's it. You're at your max red exclamation marks, which is kind of funny. I'm not a hardcore Varuna player, so my gameplay is going to be maybe lacking. So don't judge me too much. I probably should be 2ing more often than I am from pack to pack for some free status chances like that. Why do I always get the weirdest tile sets? Like, where are these enemies? It shows there's a bunch of enemies in the map. They're on the staircase. That's it. It's going to be Red Crypt City. We'll just do a few more minutes of this. We'll do 10 minutes just to show this guy off. I wish the 1 was tracked a little bit easier in the bottom right. Like sometimes the countdown shows and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of like Spellbind. I hate the way Spellbind is tracked. It's hard to see exactly for Titania. Well, Spellbind is a subsumed too. I end up pressing 1 probably like double the amount of times I actually have to press it because of the way it's tracked. It's like I don't want to look in the top right for it. I would rather it be tracked in the bottom right. Alright, we need our heavy attack from our Kalervo thingy. It's up. Nice. Let's put some statuses on that guy. Go to this pack, get some statuses. Well, we gotta get our Clairville buff up. I really like her, though. I really like Runa. And, you know, it sucks that I can't have a full Cunning Drift. I mean, I know it's like an Exilus mod, and it's very minor. But my OCD doesn't like that I don't have a fully maxed mod. But other than that, like, the build is fine. You don't technically need the Archon stretch. You don't technically need Archon continuity. Will it, like, increase the strength of your build by, like, you know, 0.5%? Yeah, probably. But is it worth waiting 2 months for Teshin to have an Umbral Forma? Probably not for a regular person.
When you are ready, go to extraction.
Yeah, she took me a long time this morning. That's why the video might be coming out a little bit later in the day than I normally have the videos up. I just wanted to make sure I had all my information correct, and I understood everything, and I had to put a crap load of Formas in her, which took a while because Warframe sucked to level. I don't press my 2 as much as I should. You should be pressing your 2 more often. I'm a little bit lazy about that. It's a great movement tool to move from pack to pack, so like, it's definitely worth pressing. And it spreads statuses. Oop, I just heavy attack there. Let me show off that router real quick. I switch, I'm at 12 times already. I shot 5 times. That's not even the whole mag. The whole mag is, I think, 8 shots. So 5 times, I was at 12 times with the router. And you can use that on any Warframe, really. It's a nice little utility build to quickly get up to 12 times combo. I don't even know if I needed all 5 shots. I might have only needed like 4 shots. I don't know. I would have to test that in the simulacrum to see how many exactly. All right, 7 minutes in. They're just an absolute metric butt ton of damage. You know, this is like a one-shot Acolyte. I think the Acolyte came out and I didn't even notice it. Oh my goodness, I'm in the pit. I don't want to put the lotion on my skin. Clear up. There we go. There was a lot of good subsume options, too. I have a little list here. What the hell was I trying? I was trying Roar, Mark for Death, this one, Eureli's Aqua Blades. I don't know why the hell I tried that one, but I tried it. There was another one, too. There was another one on my list. I forgot what the hell I had on it that I was trying. My list is here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, Warcry. Warcry was the other one. That was one that was super close to maybe going over the Kalerva one, but I like the Kalerva one a bit better. But Warcry is also really good. One heavy attack into Malice, he's gone. Kalerva buff. Okay. I guess it worked even if your target dies. Before you get to whacking with the Kalerva buff, you'll still get the buff. So that was pretty cool. I walked right into that nullifier, didn't I? Gotta put everything back up. Alright, 20 seconds. Oh, you know what another melee weapon that was really close to the hate was that I was looking at was the Dual Ichor. Dual Ichor Incarnate was really close to me putting that on there. And you might like the Dual Ichor Incarnate more. I know that's a super popular Incarnate weapon. It doesn't have the best starting range. I think one of the evolutions lets you get more range on it. Like, it doesn't have as much starting range as the hate, I don't believe. All right, let's head to extraction. Down below, okay. So 1,125 kills in 10 minutes. Pretty good. Pretty good for a melee frame. And me just kind of running my mouth while I was doing this without being too sweaty about it. Yeah, there's a lot of melee options. Let me know what you choose for a melee option, and I'll also consider it. Because maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed something.
Come to scavenge and desecrate this sacred realm.
I didn't change my Varuna fashion because I feel like she looks so nice. The only thing maybe she could use is a Sindana. Her back is kind of plain. I think her back probably could use a Sindana. And maybe her chest. Maybe her chest. Her chest is kind of plain too. But like the shoulders, her shoulders are really nice looking. I don't know if I'd put anything over them. And the same thing with the legs. Legs are pretty nice looking too. So I didn't go like crazy with the appearance, of course. I think it's like literally just the default skin. But I thought it looked pretty cool. So yeah, it's a video, guys. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.